Hi, this is Jimmy from The Productive Engineer, and today I'm going to be taking you through a beginner's guide to an application called RemNote. RemNote is a great note-taking app if you are a student or attempting to learn something like certification training in either technology or other venues. Obviously, if you're a college student or a high school student, RemNote can make sense for you, and there's a couple of different ways it can make sense. One is because of its ability to do spaced repetition, which we'll talk about in a little bit. And two, its ability to do flashcards and linking. Both of those, when all used together, could be really powerful. And I'm going to teach you the beginnings aspects of RemNote, enough to get you started in using it productively to help you in your studies. So stay tuned. Now, before we get started, if you like this video, please click the like button, as it really helps out my channel. If you are looking to watch more videos on things like RemNote, Notion, Evernote, Google Docs Suite, or any other application, please hit the subscribe button. That's all this channel is about, is helping you become more productive using these applications. Lastly, if you want to be notified when I release new videos, please click the bell. Thanks. Okay, let's get started. So the first thing you want to do if you want to get involved in RemNote is to head over to remnote.io. I'll put a link in the description. And RemNote is really built for and about learning. Whether you're a high school student, college student, obviously, but also if you're like a continuing education person, someone who's going for, like myself, who's going for certifications and learning about new technologies. Anytime you're trying to learn something, RemNote is a great application, and I'm going to tell you why right now. The biggest reason why I like RemNote is that it allows me to put in notes and create virtual flashcards called REMs. A REM is nothing more than a virtual flashcard, and what that allows you to do is to be able to create content, and as you're taking down the content, actually structure it in a way that it can become a flashcard. And then the second piece of RemNote that really sort of drives home this idea of learning is this idea of spaced repetition. What spaced repetition is, it's the idea that as time goes on from when you first learn something, if you don't reinforce it at certain intervals, you will eventually lose most, if not all, of that knowledge. So what spaced repetition is the idea of knowing exactly when it should be re-engaging with the content that you're trying to remember or retain that knowledge. So the great thing that RemNote does is it actually creates the cue cards, and I'm going to show you later how on the cue card itself, as you answer the questions, it gives you sections on whether you got it right, whether you struggled to get it right, whether you got it wrong, or even if you accidentally hit a button and expose the answer without knowing it. And depending on what you answer, it actually will bring that card back up for you to review again at a specific date and time. So it's a really great way of ensuring that you're learning information and, most importantly, retaining it over time. So let's get to the actual nuts and bolts of RemNote. So let's get in here. Here I have a handful of documents here. You can see a bunch of data science documents. I'm actually using Coursera's data science specialization courseware right now. So I started it today, and this is just some of the notes I've taken today. But we're going to start from the beginning. So the first thing you're going to want to do is create a document. RemNote's based on documents. So you can do a couple things here. There's a today's document, which if you click on that, which we'll do right now, I'll click on it. It'll actually create a document with today's date. So this is great for journaling. So the value of journaling, at least for me, and I have like a complicated history of journaling, admittedly. Sometimes I do it, sometimes I don't. But when I do it, I find that my head is more clear. I'm more focused on the specific things I want to get done in a day. Whereas if I just leave the day up to itself, it's hit or miss. I can spend a day being really productive, or I can spend a day getting next to nothing done and then spending a lot of time in Call of Duty Warzone. So so having a daily document to sort of get down your feelings, your ideals for the day, whatever you want to do, hitting this daily document will allow you to basically populate that in. So for today, I might say making a YouTube video on RemNote, right? And it's just simple. You take notes. There's basically a bunch of bullet points. So I can have a bullet point here. If I want to have a sub bullet, This is a beginner's guide as an example. Hope you watch it. You know, just coming up with various random stuff. Right? As you can see, I have a bulleted item. Now, the cool thing about this is, let's say I'm typing out something here like ate too many cookies today, because that did happen. Not proud of it. Right? And I'll just put in some food here. There we go. Nice little icon there. So let's say I didn't want to see anything that's in here. I want to fold that up because I have to say I had a couple of different things in here and I just wanted to fold this up. I can actually hit this little basically collapsing button here, and I'll actually collapse it and give you a little thing saying, hey, there's two pieces of information here that we're not currently showing you. If I uncollapse it, then you can see I can get that information. That's pretty cool. The next thing I want to talk to you about is formatting. So formatting text specifically. So when I highlight some text, like let's say too many cookies, all right, and I want to bold that, I can highlight that and then I get this context menu, right? And I can do a bunch of different things. I can make a reference, and we'll talk about references in a little while. Make a tag out of it. I can create a close card. And what a closed card is essentially a fill in the blank card. So if you're learning information and you want to, test yourself in a fill in the blanks way, like you have a phrase, this blank equals the width of a circle, as an example. And you might put, diameter for that, right? As an example, you could have bold, italicized, underlined, you have quotes, and then you have a bunch of different colors here, and then you can toggle automatic searching on and off. In this case, what I'm going to do is just highlight my text, and let's say I want to bold it. So I can either hit this, or I can hit Command B, or on Windows I'll be Control B. So I'll hit that, and you can see I highlighted that. If I want to highlight like that this is a beginner's guide, I can highlight that, and I can make it highlight, or Alt 3, Alt 2, Alt 1 for which colors I want. Here I have a handful of colors on my palette. I click off there and I have it highlighted. If I want to italicize, the same thing. I just highlight hope you watch it as an example, and I can just go to italicize or Command I, and there you go. So that's sort of the quick and dirty way you can manipulate text. And it's pretty straightforward. If you've used Notion, if you used Evernote, it's very similar. So the next thing I want to talk about is starting a new document. So you can actually go back to documents. I can create a new document which is totally blank, and then you can give it a title. So the first thing you can do is say like YouTube video on RemNote. And then one of the things you can do is put a source in, and you can actually create a link. So what I can actually do is come here, copy, down here, click paste, and as you can see, it actually creates a linked reference. So this is nice if you're studying and you want, or you're taking notes, excuse me, and you want to reference the actual source of the data that you have for that page, for that document. So you can put a reference in there as an example. You can have multiple references, so I can put another reference in here. So I can actually, let's say I wanted to do another reference was lifehacker.com. I'll come here, just get a quick one. Copy that. If I don't know why I'm struggling here, I can paste that in as well. And now I have another reference link. So pretty cool. You can gather all your references, your reference links right up there in one section. Pretty clean and easy to do. We talked about typing things up. So let's say I wanted to create a cue card. So the way you do that, there's several different types you can make. I keep saying cue card, flashcard. If you want to make a flashcard, what you do is you start out with the front end of the card and then the back end of the card. So the front end of the card is going to be, the thing that you're testing yourself on, right? So let's say I might say, who got the final golden ticket? Question mark. And then that's the front end of the card. And the way that I can tell it that this is going to be a card is I can hit a double colon. You notice that now it's bolded. So that's telling it that this is going to be what's called a rem. A rem is this thing. When you hear rem, think flashcard, because that's basically what it is. And then you can put your answer here. So I can put Charlie Bucket, because in Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, that's the answer. And I can come down here, and now that is actually a rem. Okay, so now that we've created that, I can actually come down here on the bottom window here, And where it says practice, you can actually see my card, right? Which is really kind of cool. I can sit there and see that I have the question, who got the final golden ticket, and I can see the answer on the backside. I'll show you how to process through a queue later on in the video. So that's how you add a basic one. But so let's talk about, let's say you had a card that had multiple pieces to it. So keeping with my Charlie and the Chocolate Factory theme, list the 5 golden ticket winners. All right? And then what I might do here is colon, colon, and I'll do another colon. And now when you do 3 colons, what that's telling RemNote is that my answer is going to have multiple segments to it, each one denoted by a bullet point. As you can see, I get this bullet point in here that's indented from this one right here. So I can sit here and say Veruca Salt. Now I'm going to have to remember all of them. Violet. Beauregard. Mike TV. Charlie Bucket. Augustus Gloop. And I did remember them because it's my favorite show of all time. And if you want to get out, you can just hit the Shift tab to back out and just come down, and then now I have that. So that is now added to my thing. And if I come down here to practice it, if I enable practice, if I click on this, come down here to practice, and you can see my cards down here. There's my 5 golden ticket winners, and then you see the 5 on the answer. Of course, it won't show up in my queue, so I have to do that. There you go. Practice backwards. So you can actually see my multiples there, right? Which is really cool. Now, what if I wanted to have an ordered list? What happens if I had things that I wanted to be in order? So if I, list the 3 steps to making cookies, right? So list the 3 basic steps to making cookies. I don't know what, actually I do know why I have cookies on a break because I ate them all day. So the same thing here, but colon, 1 dot. So I'm going to go back and do that again. So colon, that tells it it's going to be a rem. You put, but instead of a 3rd colon where it was sort of like this bulleted list, I'm going to put a 1 dot, and that tells it that I want a numbered list. And here I might say make cookie dough. I can't cook, so this is really going to be bad. Bake cookies. Let cookies cool. All right, and then enter, and then Shift Tab to get out of it. Enter again. And now when I come down here, if I click on it, and I come down here and I hover over it, you can see listed basic steps. You can see they're listed in order, right? So there's some content when you're studying that you want to be able to list in a specific order. This allows you to do that. The last type of card I want to talk about is what's called a closed card. And what a closed card is a fill-in-the-blank card. So I kind of referenced this earlier in the video. So let's say I wanted to make a blank fell in the chocolate river in Charlie and the Chocolate Factory as an example. I would want to have that blank answer be Augustus Gloop. So what I'm going to do here, type in Augustus Gloop fell in the chocolate river. Right. And what I want to do right now is just some text. So the way to make this into a close is to highlight it, and then see this little mailbox looking, inbox looking thing? That's going to create a close. So I'm just going to click that. Of course, I messed it up. I'm going to undo. I'm going to undo that because I forgot to get the A. And now I'm going to hit it. And now that is now a close. And the way I know that is I can come up here, click, as long as I click in this line where this line is, I can come down here to practice and see my card. And it will show up in my queue. So we're going to talk about my queue in a second. So those are all those type of cards that you can really make. And it's pretty powerful because you can you're not limited to just text. You can actually put in an image inside one of these cards. So one of the things I can do is actually drag in an image right in here. So I can just come in here, like on this 5 golden ticket ones, unless I want to have an image of a golden ticket in there. This would be great for diagrams, pictures of things, images, or screenshots of things that you might be wanting that are adding context to the answer that you're providing. And then if I come here and click on this, and I come down, you can see that you can actually see part of the golden ticket there. And then when we do the card, you'll see the full version of that. So pretty cool. So that covers how to make RemNote cards. The next thing we're going to talk about is how to access our queue. Okay, so let's go and access our queue. So you come up here to the top left in your left panel here, and you're going to click queue. And this is going to allow you to go through your answers here. Now, this is my entire queue. You can take a shortcut here and go down to, okay, so what we can do here, now that we have these in here, what we can actually do is go over here to this ellipses and click this, and we can actually go to practice this rem in this document, the rem in this document. And when you click on that, you get two options. One is with spaced repetition, so this is actually going to sort of hit it based upon your answers, or you can do it without. We're going to do it with, here you can see one of our rems, list the 5 golden ticket winners, and I would think in my head, I'd go, okay, well, I know Augustus Gloop, I know Mike TV, Violet Beauregard, Veruca Salt, and Charlie Puckett. And I'll hit my answer. And as you can see, I see my answer. And as you remember, we attached that image, and there that is. And I can mark this 4 ways here. So when you're going through your cards in RemNote, what you want to do is, as you answer the questions, you want to mark, you have 4 sort of things that happens, right? It's either, hey, I got it right, I know it, so I can either click this or press capital L. I can press a comma, I can say I knew it, but I really struggled to get the answer. I can click in, I didn't know this, which is also K. And lastly, I accidentally pressed show answer too early, which means, I blew the question. So in this case, we got it really well. So I'm going to click the happy face. And then my second question here, as you can see, shows up as who got the final golden ticket? Well, I know the answer to that too. It's Charlie Bucket. So I hit show answer. Sure enough, Charlie Bucket. Now, if I were to press one of these other ones, as I mentioned earlier, each of these will create a different spacing, right? So spaced repetition is based upon how you currently know it. And RemNote actually has an algorithm that allows it, that it assigns how often it shows you a particular question based on how well you know it. So if I know it really well, I might wait a little longer to show it to me again. Whereas if I didn't know it at all, it would have a much shorter window. And if I only kind of knew it, I'd probably have, it would probably bring it back to me again sometime between the two, that we knowing it really well and not knowing it at all. So it's really a cool way to learn how to, to learn the content you're trying to learn. So again, we knew this one, so I'm going to hit I notice. And as you can see, when you finish your queue, it'll actually give you a nice little animation of confetti, as you can see here, and it'll tell you hit your target. It'll tell you how long it took you to get through them, and then you've hit it for how many days in a row. So it's sort of that gamification thing that kind of, is really popular right now with various applications like this, whether it's habit trackers or, productivity tools that make it a little fun, because you want to, the old Jerry Seinfeld, don't break the chain, like work on something every day. And then you get a longer and longer chain. The longer the chain gets, the less you really want to break it, which kind of inspires you to want to continue doing the thing you're supposed to be doing. So pretty cool. You can just click off there as well, and you can go back to documents. I can go back to my document, just clicking it here on the left-hand side. And that's that. So I'm going to now take you through a couple of example ones that I've created. So for example, I actually have a data science page here. From my course. I could actually come in here and put my link. I didn't do it yet, but I can actually put my reference links in there. And you can see I have, I have a handful of various data here. So these are, as you can see, this is a very simple one close here. What is data science? And it has the answer. I have one that has a numbered list that we talked about earlier. I also have one here that has just a unordered list of items. And, I have an image here as well. So I have this one here, and I can sit here and go, okay, I don't want to see this. I can actually fold it up. And one of the cool things about RemNote is it actually will come down here and tell you how many references there are to this document from other documents and other rems. So, and it'll actually list some of them here, and it gives you the ellipses for more. But you can see like my data science page. I have a missing rem here. I have data science is using a definition here that's referencing this page. So whenever that's what the linking piece of RemNote comes into play, and you can actually link various pieces of content together. And you can reference a rem in a page. If you're on one page and you're listing information that might be applicable, you can actually reference that rem on another page. You could reference that other page, and so you might be I might be down here, for example. I'm gonna come down here. And let's say I was, I wanted to reference big data. So hit double left bracket and then type in big data. And you can see I have a big data page right here that comes up. I can click that, and now I make that reference is part of data science. Really simple, basic thing here. But like, you get the idea. So now I have this linking here. So whenever I reference big data, so if I'm reviewing my notes on data science and I want to know, well, what's big data, I can click on that. And then I have sort of a very simple definition here of the three variables or qualities that make up big data, which is volume, velocity, and variety in terms of the data. And, if I want to go back, I'm right back on my page. And you can see it shows you that it's a page. I can also create a reference here to a specific rem. So let's say I had one on who got the final golden ticket. I can actually put that in here, right, as a rem. So if I want to, I can click on that and it'll give me that information. So the linking capabilities inside of RemNote are pretty significant. You can also create tags. So I can actually come in here on my page and I can actually create, a tag for hashtag Wonka, right? Excuse me, hashtag Wonka. And I have a little tag here. They call it a stub, but it's basically a tag on that piece of data now. So, and if I can come back here and I can also say hashtag Wonka, and now it already knows I have one, so I can just click that there, and that reference to that as well. And that becomes searchable, so I can also click on that, and I can see everything that has that tag, right? So multiple ways to sort of parse your data and search for it inside of RemNote. The last thing I want to show you tonight for how to use RemNote is how to create folders. So you can create documents, but you can also create folders that house your documents. And I'm going to show you how to do that real quick. So if you come over here to the left-hand side, you have search for a document, add a folder, create a new document, today's date, and create a new document. You can come here to create, add a folder. I can click on that, and it's going to create my folder. And I can say this is my Wonka folder. All right. And let's say I want to take YouTube video on RemNote and drag that into my folder. As pick it up and drag it as you just saw me do there. And now that's in my Wonka folder. So if I click my Wonka folder, you can see YouTube video on RemNote. I can actually change the name of this by clicking on it. Clicking on the little icon. Come in here and just change it to Wonka Trivia. Hit enter. And then click on it, and now it's Wonka Trivia. And I can put a bunch of different things in here as information that I'm looking to learn. I hope this video was helpful for you. If you liked this video, please click the like button as it really helps out my channel. If you want to see more videos on various applications like RemNote, Notion, etc., please click the subscribe button. It really helps my channel out and shows YouTube that this channel is worth watching. And lastly, if you want to be notified when I release new videos, please click the bell. Thanks.